4-Hers learn life skills in a variety of ways. Let's learn how. As part of a 4-H club, if you are on a committee, you're learning the life skill of teamwork. If you have an office, like president, you're learning leadership. When you do community service projects, you're learning citizenship. Everyone who has an animal definitely learns responsibility and time management. When you take arts and crafts projects, you're learning creativity and planning. Through the demonstration contest and performing arts contest, you're learning communication. When you're on a judging team, you're learning decision making. And my favorite project is Junior Leaders. In Junior Leaders, you learn leadership, teaching, and organization, just to name a few of the life skills. We will be exploring scholarships for seniors, as well as a scholarship for those in 10th grade through their first year after their final year of 4-H eligibility. Let's first look at the scholarship for seniors. In this chart, you will notice that there's the 4-H Foundation Scholarship. That is for any senior in high school going to any further schooling, whether it be college or trade school. It is a 4-page form, and they give over 200 scholarships each year. The 4-H Horticulture Scholarship is designed just for those 4-Hers in grade 12 that have been in at least 4 years of a horticulture or plant science project and will be enrolling in the Purdue Horticulture or Landscape Architect majors. It also uses the 4-page form. Then, the 4-H Club Scholarship is for 4-Hers in grades 12 that have been in 4-H at least 4 years and plan to be in the College of Ag at Purdue or one of the many majors of Health and Human Sciences. This one is based off of financial need, and you must have filled out FAFSA before applying. The Indiana 4-H Youth Development Accomplishment Scholarship, also known as the Resume Scholarship, is based off of life skills. Each year they give out 30 project scholarships worth $1,000 and 3 Premier Scholarships that are worth $2,000 and the Governor's Silver Tray. We will talk more about this one in a few minutes. Let's first cover the 4-page form. Page 1 for the Senior or the Horticulture Scholarship is a demographics page. The 7 questions listed on page 2 really should turn into 3 pages. In the left chart, you will notice how many points each question is worth. There is a tip sheet for completing this 4-page scholarship form. For question 1, you are listing all the projects. You will want to list those with the greatest number of years first, because people remember the first thing they read. For questions 2 through 4, you must list the items in a chronological order with your first year first. For question 2, don't forget that performing arts, the talent contest, judging CDE such as livestock, soils, and skillathon also should be included. For question 3, offices and committees. Remember, we have float committees, fundraising committees, mini workshop, barrel painting, recreation, picnic, just to name a few. If you do it in your local club, you put an L. If you do it in a county club like Junior Leaders, you put a C. For question 4, you're listing awards and trips. This includes things like Roundup, 4-H Academy, 4-H Camp, Junior Leader Conference, as well as those county achievement awards we give in September. Note, you will also list these in chronological order. For question 5, be sure to cover leadership, community service, and citizenship. And just to make sure the judges see that you've covered all the topics, bold those words. You will want to use power verbs and give results, such as the wow statements we'll talk about with the resume scholarship. For question 6, you are going to talk about life skills. We will again cover those with the accomplishment scholarship. Be sure to bold the skills. And in question 7, you're going to expound on the life skills and how you will use them for the future. The minimum font size should be size 10, and please fill up 3 pages with these 7 questions. Here is the demographics page for the Accomplishment Resume Scholarship. You will write a cover letter utilizing at least 3 life skills from your resume. You will write a 2-page resume with 5 life skills and 5 examples each, as well as future goals for a project short-term, as well as a long-term career goal. To get started, let's look at the categories. There are 8 educational mission focus areas. Animal science for meat and milk production, which includes beef, goat, sheep, and swine. Companion animals and small animal production, which is rabbits and poultry, as well as goats, dogs, cats. Civic engagement, which is citizenship and community service. Communication, engineering and mechanical sciences. Healthy living, which also includes food and nutrition science. Leadership development, plant and environmental science. Then there are 3 premier categories: premier achievement, premier citizenship, and premier leadership. The next several slides will talk about these categories in more detail. There is a handout that you can use to circle or highlight the projects you have taken for each of these categories, as well as the activities. In the animal science, don't forget to consider Hoosier Beef Congress, Junior Pork Day, and Livestock Judging CDEs, as well as YQCA. When I think of companion animals, I think of cats, dogs, horses, llamas and alpacas, poultry, pocket pets, rabbits. Don't also to forget veterinary science. The projects that fall under citizenship and civic engagement include genealogy, government, and junior leaders. While the only project in communications is a communication project, there are many activities you do in 4-H that fall in this category, such as recruitment, 4-H band, 4-H course, performing arts, helping with Ag Day, or doing one of the communication contests, such as demonstration, illustrated talk, persuasive presentations, and informative presentations. Plus, remember that you might have done officer training, as well as attended some of the trips, such as State Junior Leader Conference. The engineering scholarship includes projects such as aerospace, tractor driving, bicycle, computers, electric, lawn and garden, remote tractor and truck projects, small engines, as well as wood science. And don't forget the national science experiments. Healthy living and food and nutrition science has a lot of projects in it, such as arts and crafts, cake decorating, child development, consumer clothing, fire safety, foods, whether it's food pres, outdoor cooking, health, home environment, microwave, photography, safety, sewing, shooting sports, and sports fishing. In leadership development, The projects you might have taken is communication or junior leaders. Also, don't forget, if you're a liaison to the 4-H exhibit board or extension board, include those activities as well as being an officer in your club. The last project category is plant and environmental science, which includes beekeeping, crops, entomology, floriculture, forestry, gardening, geology, shooting sports, soil and water science, weather, wildlife, and strawberries. Plus, activities such as crops CDE, entomology CDE, forestry CDE, and soils judging. The project categories we just talked about are $1,000 scholarships. These 3 premier categories are worth $2,000, as well as getting the governor's silver tray. You could win a project scholarship 1 year and a premier category a 2nd year. Let me describe these 3 categories for you. For the premier achievement, it's based off of everything you've done in 4-H. What have you achieved? What have you learned? The civic engagement and community service is just that. What kind of community service projects have you done? What projects have you taken that were in the civic engagement category, such as government? And leadership is what it says. Have you been a camp counselor, a junior leader, a club officer? All of those fall under leadership. In any 1 year, you can submit 3 scholarship applications. You can interview in 3. You can only win in 1. So, look at that chart that you just circled, the projects and activities you have done. Where are the most of your examples? Then you might want to look at the numbers from last year. I have listed the number submitted versus the number of interviews versus the number awarded. See which one you'd like to start with first. Now that you've selected the first category you're going to apply in, you will want to start figuring out which life skills you gained by doing the projects and the activities for that category. Take the life skill list and highlight at least 5. One of your handouts says Resume Worksheet. For your worksheet, list your 5 life skills. Then in the left-hand column of each of the tables, you're going to list an activity that you did that demonstrated this life skill. The activity is important, but the more important part is what was the result of your doing that activity. What happened? What is the so what? For example, in my illustration, if you gave a foods demo on pizza, what happened as a result of giving the food demo? In this case, 40 club members learned how to make a quick and nutritious snack in, say, an air fryer. My background is in foods, so I'm going to give you a couple more examples in the foods project related to the teaching life skill. So if you helped with a foods workshop, what happened? Oh, you taught 12 4-Hers how to bake cookies, maybe using different cookie sheets or different types of shortening or butter to make chocolate chip cookies. In the mini workshop, the result was 30 mini 4-Hers learned to make fruit kebabs and ice cream. Once you have filled out your worksheet, you're ready to turn your examples into wow statements. For each of your life skill, you will want to have 5 bullet points or examples. The first 2 bullet points should definitely be related to the project that you're going in. Bullets 3 and 4 could be other 4-H categories. And the last one could be related to home or school. Always start a wow statement with a power or action verb. By the way, assist is not an action verb. Tell me what your role was. Each power statement should also include results, that include numbers. And for each bullet, you'll have a topic. You'll tell a little bit about the background. It will have a power verb that you start with and results. Here are two other examples of wow statements. The first one, you participated in Super Saturday. You brought your project to Super Saturday. So what was the action that was going on? Well, you were recruiting potential 4-Hers by presenting detailed information on the foods project at the County Super Saturday 4-H promotional event. This event was attended by 150 people, which included 85 potential 4-Hers. If you participated in a county activity in Carroll County, I probably sent you a thank you note with numbers in it. If you can't find those, give me a call or send me an email. I have numbers on spreadsheets in the computer that I can help you with that. Our second activity is an animal-related one. You fed your animals daily. That might fall under time management for the life skill. So what happened as a result of constantly feeding your animal? Well, the wow statement here says, executed the daily routine of feeding, grooming, and exercising my own horses, as well as maintaining clean stalls. The health of my horses is extremely important to me, and these activities help keep them at their best. These next slides are going to be some examples of activities that have some numbers on the first slide, but the second slide will be more wow. In this case, it was a camp counselor and they did some planning. They were teaching the dance class, and the simple statement would be dance to 4 different songs during dance class. A more wow statement would be planned and taught 262 4-H campers 4 different dances or exercises during dance class at 4-H camp. See the difference? This activity is under the life skill of responsibility for feeding and watering my sheep daily. When you add numbers and tell me why, it becomes a wow statement. It turned into perform the daily chores of feeding and watering my flock of 50 to 80 sheep in the morning and the evening to ensure proper nutrition for the past 8 years. If you have done something year after year, always include the number of years. Here is a communication example in the foods category. It showed 5 garnishes as part of a demo. It sounds much more impressive when you write it this way. Demonstrate it, pizzazz your plate by showing how to make 5 garnishes to 30 people at the County 4-H contest, as well as 37 4-Hers at my club meeting. My favorite junior leader community service project is Toy Store. When you donate a gift to Toy Store, what happens? Through Toy Store, you not only donate gifts, but you also help parents select gifts. So it sounds really wow when you write it this way. Collaborate it with other junior leaders, civic organizations, and area churches to provide gifts for 512 youth, as well as coach parents in selecting gifts at our annual Toy Store. The fall party is another fun junior leader service activity. Play games with 20 kids. As chairman of the fall party committee, you did more than just play games. You directed 58 children and 35 junior leaders in 4 hands-on activities and a relay race and eating refreshments as you co-chaired of the fall party for younger youth. This last wow statement is on your handout. Coordinated 4-H and school activities is time management skill. That is a great thing to be doing, and many of you do that and more. So tell us everything that you're doing and what happens as a result of it. It sounds a lot more wow when you say scheduled events for 4-H, school, FFA, volunteer work, part-time job, and do my homework to maintain an AB average in school. Now you're ready to format your resume. So at the top, you need your name, address, phone number, and an email address. Make sure this is a phone number and an email that you check and that sounds professional. Your skills should stand out. Make them bold. Remember, the font must be easy to read, and it should be a minimum of 10 point. I personally prefer when youth use the Arial font. That's those with straight lines and no extra feet. It makes it easier to read. Your resume can only be 2 pages, but make sure it is 2 pages. If it falls short, then I think, oh, didn't they have anything else they wanted to tell me? At the end of your 5 skills and 5 examples, include some goals. Have a short-term goal that relates to the project category and a long-term goal that relates to your career goal. For awards, if you have room, keep it to a minimum and only what is related to the category. Remember, the review team wants to know what you learned, not necessarily what you earned. Another reminder is that people remember the first thing they read and the last thing they read. So your strongest skill should be first, and your second strongest skill should be last, and your weakest skill should be in the middle, because that probably will break over a page. Here is a good example of using power verbs and bolding skills. When the team is judging, they'll read the cover letter and then the resume, and then they'll go back to score it. When I go back to score, I like to see different power verbs. So under teaching, this person has analyzed, instructed, created, recruited, and tutored. All great action verbs. Here are goals in the category of foods. The short-term one is project related. The long-term one doesn't need to be related to the category. It just needs to have something that you're going to pursue and how you're going to use your life skills when you pursue that category and career. And if you have honors, make sure it is related to the category. This example in a resume certainly meets the criteria outlined by the state. However, it's harder to find the power verbs. You have to read the whole paragraph to figure out what is going on. So, if I were you, I would start out with the power verb and I would bold it. This is an example of too many honors given out a few years ago in a resume. If you look at the honors, do you know what the project category was? I don't. Another reminder, there are certain verbs that are not power verbs. Helped, assist, and attended are not power verbs of what you actually did to get a result. And the other reminder on here is do not have spelling errors. Once your resume is done, you are ready to write your cover letter. This cover letter introduces you to the reader. You must mention a minimum of 3 of the life skills from the resume, but do not repeat the examples. Be sure to bold the life skills in your cover letter. And remember, a good cover letter would have a body with 5 to 6 paragraphs, an introduction, 3 or 4 life skills, outline 1 per paragraph, and then a summary saying how you're going to use those life skills in the future. Also, don't forget to have a catchy theme. Catch the interest of the reader, make them want to read more. The theme in this example was sheep. What comes to mind? Many people think a Mary had a little lamb. I think of these life skills that I gained. This cover letter theme is, I've been asked many times, why do guys take food? And I answered, because men as well as women need to know how to prepare healthy food, and I've gained these life skills. This is a wonderful, warm and fuzzy cover letter. One person can help the environment, bring new hope, teach a child, feed the hungry. This cover letter used the 4-H pledge as a theme. Head, heart, hands, and health equals citizenship. And then they bolded their life skills. Once you have written your resume and your cover letter, you will need to have the final copy attached to the demographics page in order. Remember, the demographics page is not done, judged, but you will not want to have spelling errors. It is the first thing the team sees. It introduces you. Don't forget, when listing projects, list the main projects first, especially those related to the category for the scholarship you're applying for. Go back to your list of activities, projects, and events from the state sheet and list those that apply. I want to share a little bit about the evaluation process. There will be a team of 4 to 6 educators that will look at each of the applications in a project category. In the round 1, each of the applications is worth 20 points. The resume is worth twice as much as the cover letter. So when I'm looking at them, I think of about 7 points per page. 3 or more applicants in each of the category will be invited back for the interview process. The top score after the interview process will receive the scholarship. Here is a look at the scorecard used when judging the cover letter and resume. Where most folks fall down is they don't expand on their accomplishments in the cover letter, and they don't tell the so what. What was the result of what you did? What did you learn, and what did you do with the knowledge? You will receive the score sheet back between the resume judging and the interview, and on the back, the team will list strengths and suggestions for improvements. New in 2021, those folks doing the interview were asked to submit a video of 1 to 2 minutes demonstrating how life skills were developed in 4-H. This video was viewed prior to interviewing you. There is a short window between learning if you get an interview on March 1st and having your video submitted before judging 2 weeks later. So as you're writing your resume and looking through old pictures, you might hold some of those out to get ready to do the video. On the interview day, the team sees a new person to interview every 10 minutes. In your 10-minute time slot, you should give a 2 to 3 minute speech. Then they will ask you questions for 3 to 4 minutes. Then you will be done because they need 3 minutes to write up their answers. I've enclosed a suggested time frame. It certainly can be done in a shorter amount of time, but to get you started, during the holidays is a good time to visit with relatives and think about all the activities you have done that have gained life skills in 4-H. If you're from Carroll County and or you were a camp counselor for the Area 8 and 9 camp group, I am willing to meet with you to brainstorm ideas for your resume as well as to read a draft. One thing I always encourage is for you to save enough time for your English teacher to read your draft before you submit to make sure there's no grammatical mistakes. I'm great with power verbs and results. I'm not as good on commas and semicolons. So Leave time for your English teacher. Your final draft is due in 4-H Online by midnight. This is a state deadline, and you will want to make sure yours is in on time. Semifinalists are notified by March 1st, and March 19th will be the interviews, either by Zoom or WebEx, or hopefully maybe even in person. A few final reminders for you. The committee likes heartwarming 4-H stories with evidence of learning. They like to know that you learned the skill in 4-H. They love to hear about state and national trips combined with what you're doing to share the knowledge you gain. And we always like a resume and a cover letter very specific to the project you're applying in. This doesn't mean you can't include ideas and examples from other projects, but they should be further down on your bulleted list in your resume. Over the years, I have noticed that the committee does not like a list of awards that focuses only on winning and not learning. We do not enjoy reading the same resume in multiple categories. And while we are down to 11 categories now, we still read more than one. List what you did without stating what you learned is not a good idea. Always say what you learned. What was the so what of what happened? Remember to include numbers. I hope this presentation has been helpful for you. If you have questions, feel free to call me or email me. And if you're from Carroll County and would like a chance to sit down and brainstorm, I just require a 4-H adult and your green record book and 1 hour of your time, and we'll get you started on that resume worksheet.